Hey guys, it's Mark the Landlocked Surfer coming back at you with another tutorial today. So today I'm going to show you guys how to do both frontside and backside 180s on a SurfSkate. I'm going to show you two different ways of doing this trick, so it's essentially almost like learning four different tricks. Because a SurfSkate is so difficult to ride fakie, I actually find it easier to do 180s on transition. So that's where you go up a ramp or a slight incline, do your 180 and come back down facing forward. The other way is doing it on flatland, so you're doing your 180, you're landing fakie, riding backwards, and then you'll have to switch it around to continue your run. Doing frontside and backside 180s in the air is basically a variation on an ollie. So if you don't already know how to do that, I'd recommend you check out my other SurfSkate tutorial on how to do an ollie on a SurfSkate. I'm going to put a link in the description as well as on the screen here. Another good skill to have down is your frontside and backside snaps. The motion that your body's going to go through to get the board swiveling around is very similar to that. It's only you're going to be doing it after you've left the ground with your ollie. To me, there isn't a clear standout about which is easier, going frontside or backside for your first attempt. To me, I see it as being easier when you can see your landing. So if you're trying it on an incline, I think backside is a tiny bit easier. And if you're trying it on flat ground, frontside might be a little bit easier. So with that said, I think I'm going to start out talking about backside 180s on a very slight incline. I'm not talking about a steep ramp, we just need a tiny bit of incline so you can go up, do your 180, and then roll back down. Let's talk about foot positioning. I want you to bring your front foot back further than you would have it when you're pumping when you're setting up for this trick. You almost want it not quite at the half point of the board, but maybe about 60% point of the board. This is especially important if you're using like a yaw or a smooth star where you have those swiveling trucks so that you don't end up jackknifing when you land. Your back foot, you want to have it hanging over on the toe side a little bit, because when you pop for your ollie, you're going to be scooping a little bit. So you're going to be using your toes to kind of push outward to help spin it around. You'll also notice that my front foot in my positioning is a little bit further back, so the ball of my foot is roughly in the center of the board if you look at it width-wise. This is going to help because as you spin, your foot's going to move a little bit. This helps keep it in position so you can land your 180 properly. So we're going to start by going at enough speed just to get us to the top of the peak of that incline so that we'll get to the point where our momentum is going to slow down. At that point, you're going to pop into your ollie. So using that foot positioning, you're going to pop the tail down, you're going to slide your front foot forward as you did in the ollie tutorial video. But at the same time, you're going to be turning your body and scooping your foot. So what I want you to do is as you're getting ready to get into your ollie, you're going to start winding your body up and turning before you even pop your tail. So your body momentum is already going to be turning backside. Your body is going to follow along. So as your board pops up, it's going to follow your upper body movement. Don't expect to land this on your first try. It's going to take a bit of practice. You'll probably get the experience of having your feet slip out of place. You might jackknife a few times, but keep practicing and I guarantee you'll get this. It's actually a pretty simple trick once you practice it a bit. Foot positioning to do a frontside 180, either on flat or on an incline, is pretty much the opposite of what it was for the backside 180. So you can see here I've got my front foot pushed a little bit more forward, and instead of having my toes hanging over the edge, my heel is hanging more over the edge, so I can use that to swing the board around. One thing I'd like to mention is that while frontside 180s on an incline might be a little bit more difficult to land, they're easier to practice getting the motion. So if you look here, you can see you can practice getting that motion without committing your back foot. So you can pop and get a feel for how you spin the board around without committing your back foot to the landing. So I would recommend trying that before you either try to land a frontside or a backside 180. The steps involved with a frontside 180 on an incline are essentially the same as a backside, so the only thing I would stress is that it's extra important to make sure that you're starting your wind up and beginning your upper body rotation before you get that pop. So this way you're going to be able to see your landing and bring your board around. Let's move on now to doing 180s on flat ground. So where we don't have any kind of incline, we're going to be doing our 180 in the air and landing, moving fakie. This is a lot more difficult because riding fakie on a surf skate is always difficult, and especially doing it when coming down from landing in air. But the motions that are involved with popping into your 180 are going to be exactly the same. So once you have your 180s on an incline dialed, this isn't going to be that much harder. The key thing is to practice riding fakie. So you're going to be coming up, approaching the same way you would if you were on an incline. You're going to pop into your 180, rotate your body. Now the key thing is landing. You want to make sure you're landing as if your front foot is now a back foot. What I mean by that is that when you land, both your feet should be pointing directly ahead, basically at 12 o'clock on an analog clock. You don't want to have any angle to your feet so that your back foot is now going to be your front foot, and you can pivot the board back around to forward. The last little tip for landing these fakie, and it sounds obvious, but sometimes you don't naturally do it, is to look the direction you're going. So when you land backwards going fakie, turn your head so you look the direction you're traveling. Because this is a trick that involves getting airborne, I do recommend wearing some pads and helmets for this when you're getting a feel for it. You do have a risk of rolling your ankle if you're trying it on transition. And the other thing is people might not predict that you're going to be coming back down into the bowl like this scooter dad here. So just be wary of that and be attentive to your surroundings when you're trying this. But otherwise, it's a pretty simple trick if you have your ollies down, so go out and give it a try. Guys, I love hearing when people have tried out my tutorials and have had success using my advice. So if that's your case, please let me know in the comments. If there's anything you need more help with, feel free to put that in the comments as well. Thanks as always for watching, and if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Thanks.